So the ship itself is usually stationed at San Diego Maritime Museum. It was built, it's a replica of the 16th century galleon, the San Salvador. And I'll talk a little bit about what that is in a little bit, but it's a replica. It's stationed at San Diego Maritime Museum. It was built between the years of 2011 and 2016 in the Spanish Landing Park there in San Diego. It does this heritage tour once a year where it tries to replicate that 1342 journey, which is why we're here today. But it's also important to note that it hasn't done that journey since 2019. So it's a special treat today for you all. It's been 4 years. So enjoy it, welcome. But going back to Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo himself, he was part of that first generation of conquistadores. And I note that because a lot of conquistadores during that time were also encomienderos, meaning that they were giving encomiendas, which was pieces of land where they were basically able to enslave the people on it that were believed to be non-Christian in exchange for military protection, in exchange for teachings on Christianity. So it's important to note that Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo was an encomiendero in Guatemala. So the people of Guatemala were very important in the building of the 3 ships that were part of that 1342 journey. So there are 3 ships where the San Miguel, La Victoria, and then the San Salvador, which is the one behind me. The San Miguel would have been known as the scout ship, meaning if they ever needed to scout a piece of land, for example, before they landed on it, naturally they would take the smallest of the 3 ships, and that's what the San Miguel was. La Victoria was known as the supply ship. So if you're going to be out in water for multiple days at a time, at the end of the day, you really want some dry, salty, like biscuits, fish, and legumes to look forward to, right? And some very dirty wine and some dirty water. Well, this is why they had a supply ship, so you can look forward to those things while you're on board. So supply ship, and then the 3rd largest of the 3 was the San Salvador, and I'll talk a little bit more about what that is in a little bit. But talking about the voyage, so the 3 ships were built in Guatemala, transported to what was then Navidad, Mexico, on the coast, and that's where that 1342 voyage would have started. They were hoping to find a route that would take them to China, where they were hoping to find spices, because spices at that time were really worth their weight in gold. So cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, cocoa seeds, all that good stuff. Everything we can find for probably $1 at the store now. They were really hoping to find for riches. So that was what they were hoping to find. They didn't find spices, they didn't find China, but they did encounter what we know now as this whole coast of California. So that's what that journey is known for. There was multiple stops on this voyage, but the 2 that I like to point out is the one that I interpret at Cabrillo National Monument, and then also Channel Islands, because it's another National Park Service site. So they're the 2. So the reason I point out the Cabrillo National Monument encounter, or that area encounter, is because a lot of the times I hear from the visitors the wrong wording to describe what that landing would have been like. So it's important to acknowledge that you cannot discover something that's already been inhabited. There was nothing discovered if it's already been inhabited. So on their journey, the first people encounter they would have been with the first people of what Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo called San Miguel, what we now call San Diego. Would have been the Kumeyaay people, and what history tells us is that they have been practicing their traditions on that land for over 10,000 years. So they would have had an encounter with them for a few days before their journey continued on up. So naturally after that comes all that winter waters, winter weather. So that voyage would have taken them to Northern California, but eventually they would have been forced to turn around closer to the Oregon area, turn around back to Navidad, Mexico. So that's a little bit about that voyage. But a second thing I want you to think about while you're on board is, if I were to squeeze 80 to 90 of you in there today, you'd probably be coming back to me and asking us to talk to the manager, right? You'd be like, what is this free experience that I got myself into today? But that's how many men were on board. And I say men because that's all we have documented. But yeah, 80 to 90 people on board. And I'm talking clergymen, indigenous men, military men, sailor men, little 8 to 9-year-old little boys on board. If you can imagine both the physical journey they took, but the mental journey. And I say mental because if you're going on this journey, you don't know where you're gonna encounter. You don't know for how long you're gonna be out in the water. You're going into the unknown. you don't know if you're gonna make it back, which a lot of them didn't make it back. So that's a lot of mentality, right? But physical also because it's crowded. There's no privacy. If there was any privacy, it would probably be the captain in the captain's quarter. A lot of different weather encounters, a lot of disease encounters,